Hello everyone, Phil here, and welcome back to DSP versus the Internet, episode 21 for July 9th, 2023. I hope that all of you are enjoying the show so far today. Thanks to those live and supporting it, and also those who are watching on demand. Remember, becoming a channel member is how you can submit clips for this show that we do every single week. Without further ado, let's continue on with the Ultra member submissions for the week. Let's see what's next. This is what it sounds like dialing into, like, America Online or one of the dial-up internet services back in the day. This is also what it sounds like when you do a fax and you're listening to the line. Yikes, that's obnoxious. Holy shit. I heard this all the time back in the day.
1 year.
Wow, that was it. So, viral TikToks. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Here we go. Viral TikToks. Ready?
Without me, or 1 year without video games?
If she had the audacity,
Duh!
You're not gonna get pussy for a whole year. And I'm like, bitch, I beat my meat every single day. Now, hold up, bro, I gotta get it done.
I'm passing the phone to someone who fucked the whole football team. I'm passing the phone to...
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
The homeless situation in California is freaking ridiculous, right?
So I think right now in the U.S. there are about 600,000 homeless people in the U.S.
What? Well, no, there's more than 600,000 homeless people in America. No, it's more than that. It's in the millions, guy.
That's not
What's
what
with his voice?
meta-analysis says, but...
Meta-analysis? Okay, so what's your source that you say that there's only 600,000? What source is that? Okay, hey Siri, what's the homeless population in the United States of America?
There were about 567,750 homeless
Ah!
people living in the United States.
Pow.
He got crushed. He got crushed.
Homeless people around, are they dead in the streets with COVID? Hell no. Why? Where are the biohazard?
The homeless guy screamed it.
When you go to bed with that person, you're not just going to bed with that person, you're going to bed with every other person that person has ever gone to bed with before in their life.
I'm not even kidding you. I think I saw this video. I swear to God, I think I saw this video in school. I remember that quote. I absolutely word for word remember hearing that quote. I went to Catholic school, so I don't know where this video is from, but that absolutely rings true, like for something I was told when I was a kid. I swear to God.
What if I want to have sex before I get married?
Well, I guess you just have to be prepared to die.
Well, prepare to die, boys. You're going to hell and your dick's falling off and you're going to die. Woo! Yo, that's great. That's really good. I like that.
One of the worst performances of my career, and they never doubted it for a second.
You want to know how I know this is false, and that anybody who ever says they experienced this is lying? This is me in 2016 and parts of 2017. I wore this damn hat every single day to class. I was taking a class called Peace and Social Justice Studies. Basically, I submitted a Fox News version of a research paper about reverse racism. Because, you know, I was part of a cult. Somehow believed that was a thing. But anyway, I submitted this paper. And he said, while he disagrees with me, I completed every criteria of the paper. And therefore, I got full credit. So please, don't tell me you experienced this. That you somehow have to lie. Because then I will call you a liar.
I don't get it. I don't understand. 'Cause I don't know what he was calling out. The guy was saying that he pretended to be a liberal to pass his classes. And he says, well, I pretended to be a Republican and I passed my classes. Yeah, but if you both hit the criteria to pass the classes, you would still pass. So neither of them proved any point. They're both idiots, basically. But then again, that's on TikTok, so yeah. That's pretty par for the course, I guess. Okay.
Lady, she's walking slow. I'm hoping that lady does like my show. She might come over, drop me in some dough, so the Bongo man don't have to go so close. But no, sir, she just walked right past. She acted like she was ignoring my ass, but that's okay. Have a real good day. I might see her ass in a dark alleyway. That's right, you heard it, cause I said it. And later on tonight, somebody about to regret it.
What the fuck? Yo, he's rapping about assaulting the woman who walked by? Dude, what the fuck? Oh, call the police. He's literally like, what the hell, dude? That ain't funny. That's fucked up. Great.
So give me a
all right. Can I be honest here, guys? All right, I get it. People like the fact that by submitting these kind of clips, I talk about politics, which I never do on my streams. I'm gonna lay down the law, This is the last week for it. If I see Vosh again next week, I'm skipping it. I don't even care if it's from an Ultra member. I have no obligation to react to political shit because you're trying to goad me into stuff. This is it. I'm not doing it again after this week. This will be the last time. All right? After this, I've had enough of this guy. In fact, I don't even want to see this guy's face for a long time. I've had enough of it. His face is very offensive to me.
About the systematic racist bullshit. Black people may get shafted in this way and that way.
Oh my god, is that fucking, what's his name? Is that Destiny? So you got two ultra-liberal guys here that are going to do commentary. Gee, I wonder if the commentary will be liberal. Right?
They do more crime. So, in all actuality, they're being treated fairly. No. These studies account for every conceivable socioeconomic confound that is typically used as a means of obfuscating the truth of the matter.
Blacks tend to have more warrants than whites do, so thus you would expect to see a higher rate of stop and a higher rate of search.
There was still a disproportionate rate of searches to contraband found.
Typically, if you don't have an actual data set to back up your argument, we start reaching to random data.
One very important point I need to make about the warrants and
I can't even hear
being
this.
pulled over is when someone is pulled over and they have a warrant, this will necessitate an arrest, which then necessitates a search. These were warrants.
I'm sorry, regarding this data set, did you just imagine a correlative factor that you imagine disproves the data?
I mean, this is something that everyone knows that New York used to be more dangerous.
I love the fact that you're citing the highest crime rate and one of the largest analyses of over 100 million stops in the United States show that black people were less likely to be racially profiled after dark, when it's harder to determine if there's a white person or a black person driving the car. I thought that was very interesting. Over 100 million stops they analyzed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's also harder to see things like what are common.
I can't even make this out. I can't even make out, I don't even know what to say because I can't make out what they're really, I mean, I guess they're talking about if black people get stopped by a cop, is it racial profiling or something? But they're talking too fast and the points are all over the place and I can't even make out what it is. So I would like to comment on it, but I can't even understand it. You know what I mean? I feel like this is a bad clip. If this clip were taken better or were better in context to the overall discussion, then I would understand it. But I can't even understand it. Right? It's even hard to hear. I agree. It's actually really hard to hear it. I upped my volume and it's just huh? So sadly, it's just not a very good clip. All right. And I'll say this. Okay. I get it. 3 weeks in a row. You're trying to get me to talk about politics. Good for you. I don't want to do it next week. So if I see a Vosh clip, if I see a Destiny clip talking about politics, I'm skipping it. I don't care. I'm giving everyone, I'm laying down the law now. You know, the whole point is that's supposed to be a variety clip show, not a show where Phil watches exactly the same thing every week. So next week, we're not doing this. Fair enough? Okay.
Home when you look. You're right. Your daddy was home when you look. You're right. Your sister was home when you look. You're right. Your father was home when you look. You're right. Your dog was home when you look. You're right. Your cat was home when you look. You're right. Your fish was home when you look. You're right. Your mommy, your daddy, your brother, your sister, the dog, the cat, the fish was home when you look. You're right. And that's the reason you look. You're right. I left my home. I left my home. To join the army. To join the army. I left my home. I left my home. Join the army. To join the army. The day I left. The day I left.
Wow, almost 10 million views. Watch their feet. That's the key. Why do they learn these songs? They have no significance. The songs are at a perfect pace, a perfect cadence, yes, but a perfect pace, so they can walk perfectly together. That's why. So even though the lyrics are kind of silly or ridiculous or just, meant to be musical to match that pace, that's why, because look at his feet. His feet are perfectly in line with it. The tempo. Thank you, SD Chargers. It's perfectly in tempo with the walk. Watch this guy's feet. Probably the drill sergeant, right? The drill sergeant's feet. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. It's perfectly in tune with it. So they move at exactly the right speed. I don't know what they're saying. O-E, O-E. I don't know what they're saying. I have no clue.
We join the army. We join the army. Follow me. Follow me. I know you can make it. I know you can make it.
So that's it. They just transitioned into a different song. They transitioned into a completely different melody, but it's the same pacing, the same tempo. That's a very interesting way to learn how to do something at a right timing. Is do it all to the music, right? Cool. All right, let's continue.
Interesting.
What the fuck?
What would you do if this woman was your neighbor?
Invest in some earmuffs or earplugs. That's great. That's amazing. 2004.
What would you do if your family, one by one, died a slow, agonizing death? Well, that second question was a bit dark, I guess. It's in this story, by the way. It wasn't some kind of weird threat.
For her face in that
this
art.
is the tale of a woman who terrorized her neighborhood for 9 years.
She's a terror.
A woman so famous in Japan that they made a movie about her, and a tale with some pretty tragic revelations. Meet Mrs. Noisy.
Wow. How long? Oh, it's 11 minutes. Dark. It's interesting, but I don't know if I'm going to watch it for 11 minutes. We'll watch a little bit of it. Where is this? This is Japan.
Our story starts in Hagarichio, Japan, a small, unassuming town with a population of 18,774. A tranquil, quiet place where nothing much ever happens.
Yeah, right.
Until 1996, when this tranquility was ripped apart by what would become the most well-known neighbor from hell in Japan. This is Kawahara Miyoko, and she really doesn't like her neighbors. Well, one neighbour in particular, but Mrs. Noisy does love music, so she decided to combine her two passions and start a cool new hobby. On one fateful day in 1996, she opened her window, placed her cassette player and alarm clocks to the closest point that she could get to her rival neighbour's house, and blasted a wall of sound that would last for 9 years. 9 years. And she didn't turn it off once in the whole 9 years.
Wow.
Well, she did turn it off once when she went to prison, but we'll come on to
when
that
she went to
later.
prison.
The music would run day and night, summer and winter, rain or shine, in a continuous barrage of hip-hop, R&B and dance music that would bombard her neighbour's sanity.
Wow. Now wait a minute. At least in the United States, all right, we have laws. And the laws are actually against noise pollution and noise at certain times of day. Now, they're completely different depending on where you live, because those kind of laws are based more on localities and states or even cities than... There's no national law for noise, okay? But, in general, there are usually laws against doing what she's doing in Japan in the United States. If you did this constantly, you could call the police... The police would come by and basically be like, listen, you can't do this at all hours of the day. You have a reasonable volume and a reasonable hours. Once you hit a certain time, you can't do it anymore. And or if there's a noise complaint, the police can come down and shut everything down. They could force you to go inside. They could force you to put your shit away. You can't just be blasting out. You know, anything you do in the confines of the walls of your home is yours. Well, as soon as you're out in public areas, for example, if she's blasting music out of her window into the street's a public area. Therefore, if you can hear it in the street, that's considered a violation of law if there's a law against doing it at a certain time, you see? But it's different. That's the thing. It's different everywhere. So I'm curious, what are the noise pollution or are there any ordinances in Japan that would prevent this kind of behavior? Wow. She just keeps it going. Holy shit.
But it didn't stop there. She would also park outside the house of her hated neighbour and honk her car horn for prolonged periods of time.
Oh my god! To me, that's
morning,
worse than the music, because the music at least you can drown out. It's like white noise. But dude, when you're hearing a car horn, a shrill horn, that's fucked up.
window, beating her futon, singing this catchy little tune.
That's actually not
She
that
would
bad.
also scream insults at passers-by, sadly without the catchy tune.
She's actually just asking about what were last night's lottery numbers because she missed the drawing, wants to see if she's a millionaire.
Kick her neighbour's gate and ring her doorbell at all hours of the day and night. Things got so bad that her rival neighbours spent more than 10 million yen or $90,000 on countermeasures, which included free CCTV cameras and new windows to try and block out the sound. One of her
$90,000? $90,000 to try to stop noise pollution? I don't know if that sounds right. Like the CCTV, okay, this is the early 2000s. This was before the era of wireless internet surveillance. So maybe if they installed a full-on CCTV camera set to monitor her behavior, okay. I don't know about $100,000. That sounds absolutely ridiculous. For what? Soundproofing windows? I don't think so. That's wild to me. I don't know.
other
That
neighbours
sounds
even had to
exaggerated.
seek treatment for insomnia and headaches. But why would this beautiful, mild-mannered Japanese lady suddenly flip out and start a hate campaign that lasted for 9 years? Well, we'll come on to that later, you impatient little buggers.
No, tell me now. I don't care about the media circus. I want to know why she did it.
Allowed to get away with this for 9 years. Well, they tried, but she just wouldn't stop. In 1999, she was taken to court and fined 600,000 yen or $5,000 for playing loud music. In the year 2000, she was again taken to court for kicking her neighbour's gate. She was sent to prison for 46 days and fined 100,000 yen or $900. This is the one time that the music stopped. A moment of silence for her poor neighbours. When she was released from prison, she went straight back to terrorising her neighbours.
Wow.
In 2004, she was taken to court and the court ordered her not to play music with speakers pointing towards her neighbour's house, not to say anything to defame her neighbours, not to blast her car horn outside the neighbour's home, and not to ring her doorbell. She ignored them and instead fortified her home with barbed wire and cameras to the point that when the police came to arrest her, they needed 5 people to gain access to her home, with one of them needing 3 stitches to his arm. Things got so bad that the town updated their laws to restrict the noise levels allowed.
What? See what I mean? So they updated their local laws to make what she was doing even more illegal.
It was in 2005 that this nightmare finally came to an end when she was taken to court again. In her court case, it was claimed that the noise levels on her street was a continuous 80 decibels, which is about the same as a food blender or a car wash. In this court case, Mrs. Noisy represented herself and appeared in court wearing a bright pink jumper with a cartoon dog on it, and when the court played a video of her singing her famous tune out of her window, she started to dance along to the rhythm. Mrs. Noisy was sentenced to 1 year and 8 months in prison and ordered to pay 2 million yen or $18,000. This was for the suffering she had caused her neighbours.
So why'd she do it? Was she just nuts? Was she mentally ill? Or did she really just hate someone?
There are theories as to why Mrs. Noisy decided to embark on her loud adventures. Her rival neighbour claims that this all started when she put a lamp outside her home which Mrs. Noisy didn't like. Other people say this all started when her rival neighbour's kids hit Mrs. Noisy's car with a ball. Seems like a pretty extreme response. Many on the Japanese internet take a different view of this and claim that Mrs. Noisy is in fact the victim of a slander campaign in which an influential Buddhist group set out to make her move from her home. The story goes that when Mrs. Noisy first moved to the neighbourhood, she was asked to join the religious group but declined the offer, so gangs of people would gather outside of her house and vandalise her home by cutting her barbed wire fence, breaking her flower pots, gluing her keyhole shut and throwing bricks and rocks at her.
Well, dude, this is annoying because the things he has on the screen have nothing to do with what he's saying. So I'm distracted because I'm reading what's on the screen, but it's unrelated to what he's saying. You should never do this as a YouTuber. Never, ever put something else, two thought processes at once. People want to know what you're talking about. I'm completely taken out of the video now because he just did that. I don't know why he did that.
In an attempt to intimidate her into moving, they claim the noise was just Mrs. Noisy fighting back. There seems to be some evidence to back up these claims, with many records of Mrs. Noisy suing her neighbours for vandalising her property. But if your neighbour was playing loud music outside her window for 9 years, I guess at the very least you would expect some vandalism against her. For me, the most probable theory comes from old Japanese paper publications. These state that at the start, Mrs. Noisy and her rival neighbours were on good terms and would even go out for tea with each other, and that Mrs. Noisy had a problem with one of her other neighbours at the time. This family would throw rocks at her car, leading to Mrs. Noisy and members of this family having fistfights in the street. Mrs. Noisy sued this family and won, which forced them to move out. Then her rival neighbour installed a lamp in her garden, which Mrs. Noisy asked her to remove, but she refused. So Mrs. Noisy started to make prank calls to her neighbour, sometimes up to 75 times a day. She would write graffiti on her walls and blast her car horn outside her neighbour's home for up to 30 minutes, plus throw fireworks at her neighbour's home.
So basically, it all started with a neighbor that might have actually been annoying to her, legit. They actually started fighting in the streets, and when that neighbor moved out, the other neighbors were pissy, right? And then that's just stupid. Like, at one point, do you just say, all right, enough is enough, this is dumb, none of us are going to get a nice normal life here if we keep acting like children. Let's stop with the bullshit and act like adults and just ignore each other, right? This is a case where when you fight fire with fire, everything burns, right? Literally, there's no resolution. Everything just goes to shit. So, that was pretty bad. Yeah. Oh, yeah? Captain Murphy says skip to the end? Why?
Why did she ask her to remove the lamp? Why did she care so much about a stupid lamp? Well, I'm glad you asked. See, Mrs. Noisy had a husband and children. Yep, plot twist, she had a family this whole time, and they had a genetic disorder named this. This affects parts of the brain vital to physical movement, and the lamp would affect not just her husband, but her children as well. This disorder sounds pretty horrific. It starts by affecting your ability to walk, and there are reports of her husband dragging himself up the stairs to get into his own house. Then you stop being able to talk, then eat, then even breathe, which then kills you. Not very nice. Her family slowly died off one by one. First her 2 daughters, then her husband. She also had a son, but I'm unable to find if he's still alive or not. So while all this was going on, she was looking after her dying family, representing herself in court and being mocked by a nation. When asked by reporters why she terrorised her neighbours, she is quoted to say, "This is not just some selfish, purposeless noise. It's my cries, my screams." Mrs. Noisy has been released from prison and no longer lives in the same neighbourhood. I'm far from an expert on Japan, but from what I can make out, there seems to be some kind of law or cultural agreement that when someone is released from prison, you have to leave them alone, so information on what Mrs. Noisy is up to now is non-existent.
Oh, really?
On the topic of not being an expert on Japan, it's been very difficult for me to verify most of the information in this video, as I don't speak Japanese, and I've based all of the information in this video off of a handful of articles that I found, plus the only English video that I could find on this topic by a channel named Japan Analysis. Check him out for all things Japanese. So, what do I think of Mrs. Noisy?
Alright, so basically, I mean, you don't really know what happened. You don't know the full story. It could have been that she had a horrible thing going on in her life situation, but don't you think that if she actually went and told the neighbors the truth, that then it could have all ended? Because it seems to me like she's certainly exerting a lot of force to harass her neighbors. If you have a dying family, is that what you should be doing? No, but maybe she's just not in her right mind because her family's dying. So it's a pretty fucked up situation all around, but if anything, can we just agree you can't fight fire with fire, that it's never going to end, that at some point someone has to become the bigger person and like, all right, let's just end this now and stop going back and forth at each other, you know? It just kill kindness with kindness, right? Maybe that's what it would have been, is they were just nicer to each other, to talk with each other, figure out what happened or what was going on. The whole thing could have been resolved instead of 9 years of pain and torture and court cases and jail time. Yikes. Oh, wait. I think this is it. I think that I don't think this is from the playlist. Hold on, because I don't recognize this one. Hold on. I didn't say to play. Yep, that was the last one. This is not it. Okay. So now, guys, what we're going to do, we're going to shift over to the standard member videos. And I just hit shuffle. All right. And we're going to see what these are. Oh, look at this. This is a highlight of my gameplay, my actual gameplay from over 10 years ago when I used to play you know, just games on the internet. There was no live interaction with an audience. There was no stream. There was no face cam. It was just raw gameplay of me playing with a camera and talking over it. And there used to actually be highlight channel. Look, this video has 159,000 views. People used to take clips, positive clips. This is not someone doing it. This is how you don't play. This is someone actually being nice and positive, you see? So here's someone who did a positive montage. Let's take a look. Here's the music. Here we go.
What? What? That was completely unfair. I'm in a slow fucking car and I have to redo all that? That's fucking stupid, dude. I'm in a slow ass car. That is so dumb.
So I played these GTA games originally the summer of 2012. So 11 years ago is when I had my summer of GTA. And this was me playing them on PS2. But I blew them up widescreen on my TV. And I was recording with a camera. They had monstrous amounts of input delay. Like doing a standard definition game on an HD TV. It was like really hard to play them because everything was so delayed. But I did it somehow. I mean, it wasn't pretty, but it was pretty funny to see me fail as much as I did.
Do all that. This sucks. Yeah. You were your fucking wanted level. That was complete bullshit. A cop drove straight into me, bring me to a dead stop. Another cop runs up from the side and gets us. That's bullshit.
Oh no! This mission. I remember this mission. Infamous.
What? What the fuck? I got more outside. What? That's fucking stupid. There's more outside. I would have got these first if I knew that. Oh,
I remember. So that's the mission. You have to transport a bunch of crates into a truck and drive the truck away, but you don't know where the crates actually are. So you're just looking around for them, and there's 2 outside of the warehouse and the bunch are inside, but you think, oh, I'll just get the ones inside. Oh no, there's 2 more. Well, failed the mission. You got killed.
How the fuck was I supposed to know that? There's more outside. You're about to die and you're worried about the 2 fucking boxes outside. You're an asshole. Let the wood work. Come on, this sucks. He's gonna die again, yep. He's dying.
Rider's history.
My ass. This mission is fucking stupid. There's no. How am I supposed to do this faster? Seriously, it's again completely random. In some cases, I guarantee you, he won't get shot. And in other cases, he will. So now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to start loading boxes, and when the soldiers show up, shoot the soldiers because the AI is too fucking stupid to kill it itself. It fucking sucks. Gave you a hit first.
There you go.
Listening to you, Carl.
I ain't listening to you, Carl. Ryder is history.
Oh my fucking god, he killed himself. Ryder killed himself. Why do they do this? Why do they put in these fucking missions that are super long, no checkpoints?
Yeah, that was the thing back then. 0 checkpoints in any of these missions. So if you fail, you got to start completely from the beginning. And sometimes you would fail a mission. You didn't do anything wrong. The AI killed itself like an idiot.
Computer fucks it up. Oh my fucking god. He killed himself. Yes, that's exactly what he would do. He would throw a box so close to himself that he would blow himself up. Give me a fucking break. I hate when this shit happens.
The rage is so strong, right? The rage is like so intensely strong with me back then. And the other thing you got to keep in mind, back then, okay, no live stream, literally no help. If I got stuck on something like this, I might be stuck on it for like an hour or longer, and I wouldn't get any help on it until like another day passed, because I would upload the videos and people would leave comments on the videos and be like, no, Phil, this is how you need to do it. Yeah, it's a tough mission. We agree. You know, this is a tough part, but it's funny to see your rage. Thanks for the video. But here's how you're actually supposed to beat it because it's stupidly broken. You know, there's a workaround to do it or whatever, right? So, yeah, I remember these days for sure.
So fucking annoying. Keep replaying the same fucking missions over and over because the game was poorly programmed.
No checkpoints. Every time you have to drive back to the mission area and stuff, it was a lot of time wasted for sure.
Why me?
Driving all the way across the goddamn map.
What? What the fuck was that?
Oh, this mission. No, I lit myself on fire. Oh, no.
What the fuck?
Oh,
what a
no.
stupid mission. You set yourself on fire. Well, guess what, everyone? We get to drive all the fucking way back. That's right.
Oh, my God. Look how this looks. See what I mean about my old...
What? Are you kidding me? I could see. It was right there. I didn't lose the preacher. I didn't lose him.
That's him right there in that car, right?
Look at this. He was right. Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, those games were buggy, man. Like you saw, I didn't lose him. You saw on the screen, I just hit him. That was his car. The game says you lost the preacher when I was right there on his ass. And some of those things are just, you know, very outdated games, but fun games still. I think what it is, some of the appeal is that people grew up playing some of the classic GTAs, and they're so used to their shortcomings that they like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's part of the appeal of playing the classic GTA games, is the bugginess and the wonkiness of that. That's why when the remastered collection came out a few years ago, people had issue with it because they were like, by adding checkpoints and things like that, you took away the appeal of the original games. It is that wonkiness and that silliness and that unfairness of a lot of the missions that essentially make it that it took away the charm of the original games. And I can agree to that to some extent. If the whole game is just easy because they took away the difficulty level because of the checkpoints and everything, then maybe, you know, there's no risk to anything, to failing. You know what I mean? I kind of get that. All right, guys, this is a great time to split the part. Thank you for watching DSP versus the Internet, episode 21. 2 parts down, 4 more to go, so much more to come. Thank you for watching. See you in the next part.